kind of settle down for the night. Settle down, Arch. All right, let's see. Now we got a couple of mics on. Which mic? Because it's going to echo. So that's ATEM cameras. This is the one that really should work here. I just kind of push it to the back. Hey, Mark. Thanks for the congrats. Yeah, that was a lot of work to get. I was like, when 1 million happened, which wasn't all that long ago, I was like, oh my God, 1 million views. Thank you, gods of the YouTube people and the gods of the algorithm, right, have shined upon thee. I was like, wow, and then like it just hit 2 million views. I think this last year, it did okay at the beginning of the year and carried through the summer, the season, and then really fizzled out. But it wasn't great. The year before that, it was like, boom. A lot of my stuff started getting watched, and I saw a big change. It was a big change from wherever I was. I don't remember. That was a big change. But last year, it was almost a little like anticlimactic, because when the last season came around, I was like, oh, this is nice and all, but, why was the year before better? I don't know. Who knows why? It doesn't really matter. But I hit like 2 million views a couple of weeks ago or something. I forgot all about it. I've been so busy trying to do stuff. So I wanted to see what you guys are doing. So this year it definitely came in hard. He goes, close to 10,000 subs as well. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yep, it's getting there. That's harder because of the way my channel is set up. I don't need this on. I'll just yell. Because I think my channel is, if I would have I've said this before, I'll sort of like put it in a nutshell, like what is it? I have some popular videos, but I don't think the channel is popular. Because when I put out a video, I get maybe 200-300 views on it. And if I'm really lucky, I'll get about 500 views. And I have almost 10,000 subs. And at 2 million views, right? So the channel is not that popular. Like if I put something out, probably because a lot of the stuff that I do is sort of how-to and the easier stuff. And I just did another one recently, which that video might do okay. People like it. But unfortunately, how-to stuff, especially for beginners and stuff, that's one-hit wonders type material. Like you'll get a whole lot of views on that. And they're not the people that come back. Is that Big Mike? I want to look for, he goes, nap time over. Yeah, I'm so tired. No, I didn't get a nap yet. I just filled my belly with ham. I made a nice hamburger. Let's see. He goes, oh, look, nap time's over. I didn't really get a chance to take a nap. I was watching something. And then I'm like, I might as well just go make burger. I'll nap later. I'll kick back and nap. Let me see if I can find something here. I wanted to change the thumbnail to, let's see, where is it? I wanted to see if I could change the thumbnail to the Scott's mower. And I don't have any of those pics organized. They're all in the lump folders and stuff where I put them. So I managed to get the Scott's mower. Big Mike's Scott's mower pretty much working good. There's a couple of things left to do on it, which I'll let him know. I'm not doing them. But there's one thing I will do. He's got a wheel that's all crooked. It's the wheel that basically fell off. So I want to adjust it. It's just a tie rod type thing. And I've had it here for a little bit, and then everybody else just keeps shoving stuff in front of me. And I just wanted to see real quick, wasn't there a shot I took of it? I don't think I actually took a shot of it by itself with one of the cameras that I use where I could make a thumbnail out of it. Yeah. It doesn't have its skirts on yet, so I have to put those back. Yeah, I don't see anything. I thought I had one, but I was probably thinking of something else. Yeah, I don't have anything. I could probably steal one from something I was working on, but what's this? I'm going to play that in a little bit. I want to see what you guys are up to. Let's see. Yeah, let's split the screen. Let's detach. Pop out chat. I feel so detached. There we go. Intro Spring Live. I want to do split screen chat, and then I go this way. Right. Sometimes what I do on my workbench is I put tape targets down. If I'm doing an overhead or even a side view or whatever, because when you want to work on something, I think one of the biggest habits I have when I go to work on something, I bring the thing as close to me as possible. Like I will lean it up against my chest. And I will work on it real tight. But the camera, unless you angle the camera in some weird way, I'll put targets down so that I try to stay in the field of view of the camera. Because like I said, I want it as close to me as possible. Just from years of doing it, it starts climbing and riding up on me. I don't know if you guys ever did that. When you're working on a bench, mostly. So let me see what Mark is saying here. Let's see, close to 10,000 subs as well. Maida says, hey, man, he says, I'm 24 away from 1K right now. Yeah, I remember those days, right? It's like so close. Well, don't ride it. Don't do what I do, or sometimes when you get close to something like that, you start riding it. I remember, that was, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. Yeah. I was so proud. I was so happy I got to 1,000. And let's see, Mark goes, doesn't help that more people posting every day and they potentially are taking views away from you and me. Yeah, because, there's a lot more saturation today. Maida goes, to Uncle Mark, he goes, hello. Mark says, you and me are kind of specific to certain people and their problems. Yeah, that's the problem. I remember when I was just about 1,000 and it was Henry. Hey, Henry. And let's see. I think I hit 1,000 one night. I woke up in the morning and I was like, oh my God, I hit 1,000. And I texted Liz, my friend Elizabeth, and I go, I just, like a little few over 1,000. I just hit 1,000 subs. And she says, yeah, I know. Of course, I'm not thinking about what she said. I think I've told the story before, but since we brought up 1,000. And then I'm going on and on and on, right? Because that's me. I go on and on and on. Mr. Big Mouth. And suddenly, in my head echoes, a female just said, yeah, I know. So either that's dismissive or she knows something. And then I'm like, well, what do you mean you know? What do you mean you know? What do you know? What do you know? Were you watching my channel this morning or something? She goes, I was up late. I really couldn't sleep. So I made a bunch of fake accounts and I subscribed to you. And at first I was mad, right? Because I got mad at her for doing stuff. I was a little angry. I was disappointed because I wanted to do it on my own, but then I realized no, that was a nice sentiment. Thank you, But I was like, I want to do this on my own. What are you doing? You're stepping on me. What are you doing? And then she asked me one time, because I was over there for something, because she works on off her computers and stuff. Mostly when she was working home, from home. She says, can I leave? Let me turn this mic down just a scotch more. She's like, you get points, right, for watch time. I said, yeah, it's a whole thing. She says, if I leave your video run, but with the sound off, will you still get watch time? I said, yeah, probably. She goes, what if I minimize it? I go, well, maybe, I don't know. She's like, because I have other stuff to do. She says, if I minimize it, well, if you minimize it all the way, I don't know what it does. I don't know what, usually things just stop. But if you make it smaller and then put it to the side on another monitor, or just leave it, below, I said, maybe. She was trying to help me out. But then recently when I hit 2 million views, I texted them I hit 2 million views. Crickets. And I texted again. I'm like, hello? Well, her life is she's in her own little disaster. So I don't know. She doesn't really care. I think sometimes she just mutes the conversation, turns it off. Because that's what I have to do to my family sometimes. Because it just rings and rings and rings and dings and dings and rings and dings. I'm like, oh my God, make that stop. I don't know. It's fun. You'll get there, Maida. It's definitely fun. It takes a while because when you start, nobody knows you. The AI doesn't know you. Nothing knows you. They don't know what you're doing, what you plan on doing. There's no track record. There's no history. That's why people that pick one subject and they don't do anything other than that, like James Condon, you just do the one thing over and over and over and over again, and you'll do so much better. But then, unfortunately, what happens with that is you might get locked into that. You know, you get known for that one thing, and then people get mad when you do something different, you know, and then they want to leave. It's just so weird. That part's the weird part. I don't pay any attention to that. You know, but the how-tos can make you money if you set them up right. The how-tos will get popular, but those aren't the people that come to hang out on a Saturday night. Those aren't the people that look to see if you popped out a new video and will watch it. You know, I think Blood knows if he's out there. He said he sent me a message earlier, which I haven't had time to respond to, but he was binge watching. He's like, curse you, you know, because I'm wasting time now. I'm binge watching. Yep, I did that the other night. I was watching somebody and I started binge watching. I think it was Cold War Motors. I think it was just like, it was starting to get late. And I'm like, well, let me just watch another one. And like all of his videos are like an hour. But I just kind of was binge watching it. And I was just sort of sitting back and, you know, kind of like this and moving around and going to get coffee and getting up and I don't know, whatever, taking a leak. And it just kind of like chilling. I was paying attention, but I can't watch everything because his camera work is so crappy. And he has such a crappy camera, and his lady is just as bad. She does what I do, right? I'm trying to hold it straight, and all of a sudden, like I twitch, and then you'll see it. Like it's like it just wrenches. And it's just an older camera, and it's fuzzy and hazy. And then the other mistake he makes is, and a lot of people do this, is he zooms in. And then when you zoom in a handheld, that's the worst thing. When they teach you in photography and videography, first of all, you want 3 points of contact. So if you're holding your camera, they want you like this. So the way they teach you, and you'll see some of these people have big lenses, but the one thing you don't do is you don't do this. You don't stick your arms out like this because all the movement will be transferred. This is like zooming your lens. So all of your movements will be transferred. Any little movement you make will twitch. And unless you have a really good, camera or lens and you've got stabilization up to yin yang, even with that, you can still jerk it. So what they teach you is that you hold 3 points. So you got your one here. So this is like a standard camera, but it's the same kind of for a movie camera. For a movie camera, it's a little bit better because you can palm it from underneath. But you got your one, you pull it into here, and then you grab the lens or the body of the camera, depending upon the shape, and then you pull that elbow in, all right? And so now you're stabilized to your chest. And when you move, you don't move with your arms. You rotate by torquing your body like this. And the other thing that you want to do is lean on something. So right now I'm going to lean my chair back or lean to a post or whatever, a wall. And then you hold it like this and you limit your movement and you go slow. And this way you get these different points of contact. So you're not going to shake the camera. If you're going like this, even if you step a little bit, like I don't walk well. So I don't walk straight and normal because of my back injury. In fact, I was just at the doctor and she was like, the neurologist, and they're like, walk. And I'm like, good luck with that. Because sometimes I can think, there's also a different kind of a walk. It's, I forget what they call it. What do we call that walk? It's toe to heel, toe to heel, toe to heel, toe to heel. Not heel to toe. Heel. You don't walk normal. You have to walk in a different way. And that's how you get your body stable. And you can do all these sweeps and panoramas. But what he does, and he makes the mistake of, is he zooms in. And it's either digital or with the camera. So every little movement will become even more pronounced. And on his camera is so bad that when he zooms in, it gets fuzzy and mushy and weird and all whatever. And the shakes are worse. So I can't watch him on my big monitor because I get sick. I actually get sick. I start to get nauseous. It's like when I first started gaming and doing like first-person shooters and stuff on big monitors. Everybody I knew told me this. That, well, you're going to throw up. don't game for more than 15 minutes. Yeah, I went in the house one day, I had a fever, I was sweating, I was ready to hurl. Yeah, that kind of motion will make you sick. But I like what they do, you know. It's just like for all the money that he spends on these cars. He bought a drone. He bought a Steady Shot drone, and that footage is beautiful and stable. And then somebody picks up the camera, and it's like, oh no, we're going for a ride. And, oh jeez. Or they get drunk and stoned because they smoke pot and drink, and they set the camera up. And the other day, who was it? They had a good shot, and then one of the fellas walked right in front of the camera. And while they were starting this engine for the first time, all I got to see was the dude's shoulder. And I'm like, no, somebody pick that camera up. I want to go look and see this engine. It's not easy. It's not easy. But that's the kind of show that they're not how-tos, you know, not at all. Not at all. Hey, Josie. Hey, Brett. Totally not how-tos. But I like that kind of a show, and I would like to create something a little bit more like that. You know, like a Musty-esque thing, but not, because Musty, when Musty does his stuff, to his credit, like Musty will go over something, and when it comes to something that's kind of beginner-esque, he'll go back and he'll explain to everybody, the beginners, you know, like this is what's going on with it. I don't want to do that all the time. There are times where I would like to have it where you could literally drag the camera along with you, right? Like an IV bag on a pole, right? And just drag it along and just do stuff. Not necessarily silent, because I'm a big mouth, but not have to explain everything. You know, like Andrew Camarata, right? He's always just working on stuff. Once in a while, he opens up his mouth and he explains something, or he'll say he likes or doesn't like something. But the rest of the time, he's dragging that camera around with him, along with everything else, big heavy steel and everything. And he just does. And I watched that idiot. And what did he break the other day? He broke something. Oh yeah, he was cutting something. He picked up one of these, he didn't cut a big piece of steel because he's working on his house. So he's cutting this big piece of steel, and he's got the big Milwaukee, you know, circular saw, and he's got I want one of these, you know, diamond like style metal blades, whatever the hell they are, the Diablo or whatever, because I need a metal cutting blade. He's cutting through a piece of what the hell was it? Sheet steel, like one with diamond plate. He propped it up, but it must have sagged, and he cut his new concrete floor. And as he separates it, he looks down, and you can see he was definitely struggling a little bit. And I looked down, and there's all the concrete. He just went right through the concrete, messed up. He's like, oh, I cut through my concrete floor. I'm like, that is so Camarata, yeah. He's a shaker and a grover. What's a grover? Big Mike says. What's a grover? You know? So I wanted to show you guys something in a minute. At first I wanted to just babble and say hey to everybody, see what you guys are up to. Anybody doing anything like cool, any like really cool project? I like cool projects. Hold on, you might see. Put this here, put this here. He goes, groover. Oh, he's a shaker and a groover. Yeah, absolutely. But that's the cool thing about YouTube, is there's so many different variations, you know. But, you know, they all do all those old cars. Camarada's got basically the same thing. You know, there's a few little differences in what he does. Watch West Work has got a few different things going on. He started, you know, outside working on old tractors and stuff. So his has changed over the years. But I think he said he had another channel. He was just trying to do like these machines and everything, and nobody really wanted to watch it, and he gave up on it. And he's like super brilliant too. But he was probably doing more with CNC. You know, if you want to do machining and things like that, I think you need something a little bit more down to earth. You know. Let's see, Brett says, so Joey Z says, hello, Arch and Company, dilly dilly. Brett says, new shop vid coming soon. Getting rid of the fluorescent lights over the benches and going to high bay LED. That's cool. Maida says, That's the one thing about my channel is I have several different subjects. Yeah, but that will hurt your channel initially. That'll be very, very slow growth when you do that. Very slow. So just prepared to, you know, unfortunately, when you first start, if you're not really sure what you want to do and you throw a whole lot of different things at the wall just to get content, you kind of have to. And but you want to look to see what content maybe hits more than other content and lose the content that, unless you just happen to like doing something and you don't care if it gets views. That's totally different. You know, Kentucky Fried Fixes. Good to see you, Arch. Yeah, welcome. So I just, like I said, I just cut my lawn today with Big Mike Scott's lawnmower. Take a quick peek at it. What a mess. What a mess. Brett goes, my Roxy videos hurt my channel a bit. Yeah, they will. You know, like I have videos I'd like to delete. And I said to myself, because I've done this before, I've deleted a lot of videos. But I do them in stages, right? Because I want the views, right? I'm trying to build a channel. So it's a toss-up. So I'm like, well, I got some more I want to hit. Because let me tell you, I've got some that are over 100,000. I got 10,000, 20,000, 15,000, 5,000. And if I've had a video up for 3 years and has 150 views, I think I can get rid of that, right? Unless, of course, it's something I want to keep, which is different. And if I just want to keep it because I want it on my channel, that's different. You know, but generally speaking, if it's something I did and it still only has like 150, 200 views, yeah, let it go. Let it go. We don't need it. You know, Kentucky Fried says, I've been working on zero turns a lot lately. Nice. I thought about doing some videos, but who cares if there's a zillion? Make it a zillion and one. Make it yours, right? Who cares how many? It doesn't matter, right? I learned that, I think, from Mix Mowers, because he was interviewing a younger fella on his live show one day, because when he was doing them, occasionally he'd bring up some people. And I'm sitting there watching this. Let me just see what I've made. Right now, it's mostly woodworking. And Josie goes, my mower repair videos do the best. Yeah, but I pay the price for doing what I want. Yes. So Mick is interviewing this guy, and this guy's younger fellow, and he's talking about how, you know, he's into the camera technology and the effects and all this other stuff, and, you know, high-tech camera gear with high picture quality and all this, and he knows the younger people, and, you know, and he's going on about this, right? Okay, maybe he does, right? A lot of young people do. And then Mick asked him, he goes, okay, but he wanted to stay in, like, small equipment. And Mick had said something, he's like, well, have you done like a blade sharpening video or like how to change a plug or like even a carburetor video? He goes, nah, that's been done 1,000,000 times. And I forget, I mean, I'm only paraphrasing because Mick said it better than I, but Mick basically said to me, he says, yeah, but do you have a video on that? Have you? And part of it is paying your dues in any particular subject, especially when you're trying to show how to do certain things. Look, if you're just doing a restoration, you know, like I like to do, or paint or whatever, or I just want to make it nice and purty and I'm just ripping stuff apart, that's a little bit different, right? You know, that's not really how-to. But if you want to do a how-to, where's your? I mean, I know, like John Clem goes, you know, because the internet definitely needs another carb cleaning video. I get it, right? But have you done one? You know, and how did you do it? And or a blade sharpening video or whatever. I put out a few of those. They get watched from time to time. Even Elizabeth said to me, this was a few years back, she said, why don't you do a simple how to install a plug? You know, a spark plug, because she's like, I had to go look it up. I wanted to change the plug. It wasn't running right. The machine I built her. She didn't want to bother anybody. She went on YouTube, and my video was not there. Okay. So then, and you know what? And at first I was like, I'm not doing, the proud idiot, right? I'm not doing cheesy, yet another one how to change a stupid spark plug. I just did one. It was in that video I just released. And one of the reasons why I did it was, again, this lady, She wasn't even sure she was doing a tune-up or what a tune-up was or what it consisted of or what was wrong. I don't know. I don't know what she was thinking. I didn't get into the psychology. You know, I'm just trying to get a lawnmower and figure out what's going on. She didn't consider any of it, but she tried to do some stuff. And she said, I went to YouTube and started poking around. Now, I just, Christy, I think she likes Chrissy. Chrissy just dropped off her mower a couple of days ago. So I figured I'd get it in there, and I'm done with it. You guys will see that in a week or so. So I made a video, a couple of videos on Chrissy's mower. I made a nice older, like 2000, black 22-inch cut Craftsman, those nice decks that I like, with a Briggs motor on it and everything. And she's been taking care of it. And I did this video. I think her kids are on at the end of the video saying goodbye. This is like 3 years ago. And she's been maintaining it. And she put a nice HIPAA plug in it. By the way, the HIPAA plugs, that's another discussion. But a couple of weeks ago, I think in Ken's show, they were talking about plugs and fancy plugs and all that. And I like what Klaus was saying. But I'd like to add to that maybe later. And the HIPAA plugs are nice because they actually are nickel and copper. So, and I've been using them for a year now, actually more than a year, and they seem fine. So anyway, she put the plug in, she did a few other things, and it was running okay. She put a little too much oil in again, not as much as the other lady, but too much. I got to remind myself to tell her that. And the front wheel drive stopped working. Now, she hasn't really cleaned it. It was dusty like mine are right now, but the underneath when you see this thing, it looks this. I even like did a touch of paint on this thing. It looks great. It wasn't terrible, but the way they're set up, those Craftsmans are set up. There's a plastic cap over the top, and there's also a plastic cap underneath the blade covering the pulley, and the shit will work its way in there. And the belt got a little bit loose, and if you're on and off too fast of the drive control, the belt got underneath the pulley. The wheels were wearing out on the outside, but the gears are perfect on the inside, and I had lubricated everything in there, and it wasn't overwhelmed with dirt or anything, and it was fine. And when I told her, she goes, I suspected something like that, because I didn't think it was just the wheels, because the way it stopped working. She's paying attention. Now, she had said something very similar to me the other day when I was hanging out with her and chatting. And she was like, that's what YouTube is great for. She's like, and somebody with me, I really don't have any help. And I want to do it myself. She's like, so I turned to YouTube and searched for some basic stuff, like changing a plug. And I thought about that. I'm like, hey, you idiot. Liz was right. When are you, Arch, when are you going to, maybe like talk about that? And I do talk about it a little bit. I'm like, well, I don't want to do just like a 3-minute short, which would be great because you could do a 3-minute short on something like that. Now that it's more than 1 minute, right? 3 minutes is enough to talk about a plug and what you should do with it. I don't know, I haven't tried it, but I figured I would include it in this past video. So all of those things that you might think, there's a million of them out there. Yeah, but is yours out there? Just that simple kind of stuff might turn your channel on, right? And because it's so common, and especially now that things are getting expensive for people, and maybe we're coming into another wave of, remember the DIY was a thing for a while. I remember guys back like HGTV and all that, right? And like that's my generation coming up, DIY and everything. It kind of fell out for a while. Economy gets a little bit better. The cost of like a new lawnmower, even though it's a piece of crap, was some of these lawnmowers now, they're like just under $300. They were like $125, $150, $125 something MTD, big box store plus tax or whatever. And that's what put a lot of people out like me out of business because there's nothing you can do with that. But they're not $125 or $150 anymore. Like nothing is $125 or $150. $125 isn't worth $125 anymore. So, think about it. Let me catch up with you guys. Let's see. So Maggie goes, yeah, it's mostly woodworking, which is nice. Maida's making these coasters that look like skids. And he asked, by the way, which one do you like better? The skid that looks like this with this spacing or the skid that looks like that? I said, which one? Because what are you going to pick one? Why pick one? Why not make both? I said to him, well, you should make a third one. They're like little coasters, but they look like skids. I said, you should make a third one where it's like the wood's all cracked and splintered and the nails are hanging up and everything is all crooked and messed up. I'm like, you should make that one and a third one and keep the whole thing and then offer it. That's my thinking on it, because I won't pick. It's not going to happen. He goes, so Joey again says, my mower repair videos do the best, but I pay the price for doing what I want. Yeah. That's what happens to me. I pay the price. Brett says, and for the record, Roxy is now fully comfortable here now. She runs to greet me in the mornings with happy meowing and tail standing straight up like a flagpole. Yeah. Yeah, my little shit comes after me, too. Usually looking for food or something, but she visits with me in between feeding her kittens. Mr. Somebody says, hi, John. How's his business in the push mowers? Have you been busy? Service sales? Yeah, very busy. Ridiculously busy. Like, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing right now, which is good. I like that. Bravo goes, Arch, you're out here this fine evening. Yep. Brett says, hey, Johnny. Bravo says, hey, Brett. Dawn says, hi. Meow. Yeah, mine makes this weird, hey, bud. Hi, Dawn, Roxy. Bud's here. Bravo says, every spring, folks trying to get their mowers running. Yeah, they haven't run in 6 months. Likely small engine mechanics and DIY channels get a bounce. Yeah, they totally, mine gets a complete bounce this time of year. And then it might taper off. Which is another reason why I want to do different things. You know, because then you just get this peak and that's it. So Bud's here. Josie, some of my auto repair videos do well. Even something simple like changing a headlight, a wiper blade. Yeah, absolutely. I was trying to get the rear wiper blade off my ex's Hyundai, whatever the hell it is, the back one. And like, it's really simple, but when you look at it, all of the seams and everything on the plastic are super tight, and you really can't see how it comes apart. And I don't want to break it because it's plastic. I figured it out. Maida says, I did a video of repairing a direct drive washing machine. Yeah, I kind of saw that. I did one too, and I never released it because the pump got all jammed up and clogged. And I took the pump apart and rebuilt it and made it nice again. And then, you know, I just never released it because I have so many videos I haven't released. I just don't have time to go through them. Josie says, many out there did not have anyone to show them. Yes, that's right. That's right. And they need help. And that's, you know, the DIY, I think it's starting to come back. It's not, I don't know what it is. It's not just that there's, you know, YouTube or anything like that. Oh, people run in cycles, like society runs in cycles. You know, if you study history and shit, you'll see the same cycle coming back all over again because we didn't learn it the first time. You know. Robert goes, changing different wiper blades will drive you to drinking. Totally. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. What the hell? What's going on with this thing? Brett says, spoiler alert, I may be doing another Simpson video. Right? I told Brett a while ago, I said, why don't you, because he's got the floor machine and everything else. I said, why don't you, because he does these videos, but we're just watching him do it or whatever. I said, why don't you do like a showcase where you lay everything out, some of it on the table in your nice lit garage. Lay it out, talk a little bit about, you know, the specs or whatever and some of your experiences with it. Just lay it all nice and then slowly move the camera around. Show it up close while it's not running. You know, I mean, I don't mind it running, but, you know, people, you know, I do it too. Like I yell over the mower while it's running. It's running pretty good, fellas. Yeah, let it run a little bit longer. Like, why, Arch? I can't hear you. There's a lawnmower running. Yep. She says, nothing new under the sun. Robert Malley goes, Archie is backlogged. Yeah, I am backlogged. Like 2 years work now. It's bad. And he goes, I have 8 seconds short with 1.1 thousand views of our cat laying on a bag that's on the floor. By the way, you can go to the moon with cat videos. If you want to really blow up, just do cat videos. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, my cat's busy inside with her kittens. She comes out. So I think she swiped the dog in the eye the other day because he had a bloodshot eye. She might have whacked him. She jumps out of the front room on top of this ottoman because if he sticks his head in there too far, because she's protecting the kittens. Mostly, I've seen them stand next to each other, and it's fine. But there are these moments. He's not particularly interested. He was there first. He's the dog. He just wants to see what the hell's going on, Greg goes, going to take your advice on that, Arch. Nice. Yeah, because I think that would be good. You got some nice equipment. I do showcase videos, kind of, from time to time. I like to do that. I think it's fun. My problem is I talk too much. You can also overdub. I mean, I'm not going to write it out. No, I'm not doing that. That's not my style. I had to do that in school. We have to draw in all those block diagrams. You have to layer all the shot list and everything. And I draw stick figures. And then you have to write out what your narrative is. And I'm not doing that. That's just not my thing. Oh, learning with Juan. Hey, Juan. He goes, Hip Arch, your channel growth is noticeable. Congrats, thanks. It was tough. You just don't know what's going to happen. And Bravo goes, maybe I need to highlight Darwin. He makes a cameo in almost every video I make. That's good. Yeah, give him a little bit of celebrity there. A little highlight every now and then. Some people don't like that. I don't care. Hey, Cold War, those dudes there, you always get to see his dog, running around and doing stuff. He, slows it down. It's in the opening scene and everything. I'm like, that's probably going too far, but he really loves his dog. Do whatever you want. Some guy complained about something. Video is horrible. You're talking too much. And I forget what I wrote to him. It was something silly. I told him to ask for his money back. I said, or you could also, why don't you make one of your own videos on the subject? See, when people get smart-assy, when I'm trying to help them. How are you helping? Was he do that all the time? I didn't answer the guy again. What do you go around making dumbass, nasty comments? Your video is hard. If it's so horrible, why do so many people like it? What are you, the arbiter of success on YouTube? Somebody sent you out? I'm not going to say it to the guy because he wants attention. He's just one of these hater, negative people that think, I'm trying to help you. You need some negative input. It's horrible. Horrible. It was a talking video. It was mostly talking about the baffle on a Toro or something. On some of them, they're very expensive. Some of them are really hard to change out. Some of them are really easy. I was just showing that. And I was bringing up cut sheets, and I showed a bit about what I was doing with that Toro. And the way I was working on it, it was easier for me to take the engine off. Another guy, you don't have to take the engine off. No, you don't have to take the engine off. I think I said that. I took the engine off because I was kind of going over the whole thing. It's 3 effing bolts. I had almost all of it apart anyway, and it made it easier for me to go over the whole damn thing. You don't have to take the engine off. Some of the stuff that people write in is just crazy. They just don't pay any attention. Get your own show. You get annoyed. It's for your money back. Oh, you didn't pay anything. That's right. No, but I don't want to waste anybody's time because they are paying with time. But have something more constructive to say and say it. Say what you mean, but don't say it mean. Let's see what Juan is saying. He goes, hey, everyone on the chat, sounds like you have many bosses. Yeah. Joyce says, I just tell them I went to their channel to watch their video on how to do it and I found no content. Oh, I want to steal that, Joe. Totally. I got to steal that. I like that. Brett goes, I'm getting 4, Robert. 3 over 1 bench and 1 over the smaller bench. Nice. Yeah, I got to do my lights too. I got to do it. I was thinking about it the other day. I got to get all this crap out of my shop. Let's just take a quick peek. Let me see what I want. Just a quick peek at the Scots. With the Scots. I don't want to get too into it because there's just too much to be looking at. Hold on, let me send this back. It's just too much. And it's too in disarray. But just because if Big Mike's still here, we could just do a quickie. That one front tire. Now, this is the thing. We're trying to find a suitable lathe. That one front tire that fell off. Oh, jeez. I really wanted to make. I kept writing to him. I'm like, need a lathe, Mike. Need a lathe. Lathe. Need a lathe, Mike. I need a lathe. What a mess. Somebody changed out the rim. Why? I don't know. Why would you need to change a rim on a tractor? You know, let me see if I have a little shot of that. I probably don't. Well, I do have it on the other camera rack. Hold on. Let me just kind of police this real quick. I finished the one side. Hold on. It's not going to be there. It's more complicated when I do the recordings to the computer itself. They come out better, but it's just more complicated to pick something and, you know, show it here. I'll find it somewhere. I'll find something. These cheesy bushings that were put in there. I'm popping the bushing out. Yeah, it's the wrong bushing. It's the wrong rim. Yeah, I can't really show you because I can't bring up the videos quick enough to make a comparison. Hold on. You're not going to hear it. So much of this stuff just needs to be edited. One of the more recent ones should be it. Like this. Oh, yeah, wait. So I made these bushings. All right, hold on. Just to give you a feel for it. Bring the audio up. That's desktop audio. Let's go over to...
and then what we'll do is we'll measure.
Right monitor.
Maybe getting caught.
You might hear a little echo, but I'm just trying to...
Somebody flattened it and drilled it.
Bring that down a little.
Now we'll come back
I'm
like
trying to
this.
set up the length of the bushing
Take a
because they needed to be
measurement
cut.
from
And
I think
they
we
needed
can-
to be
we
cut
can
because they
remove
weren't
this
penetrating
section
into
here
the rim properly.
And take just this piece with a little bit of extra
And they were falling out of the rim.
or something like that. I mean, you could probably, that's a lot for washers. Let me take a measurement, but that's where we want to be.
Let's see.
All right, I think
There we go. Now it's on. And there was a cotter pin. Somebody drilled through the axle.
that's not bad, but look at all the play. I mean, just
Yeah, there's play
absolute
all over the
garbage.
place on this
So
thing.
what I'm thinking now,
And then,
I have-
so I'm getting closer. So now I've got it essentially,
all right, I think I got
it's on
it.
there with
Hold
the
on.
C-clip
So what I'm
or E-clip.
be more difficult. Yeah.
And I managed to
That's
get it
the
all
spacer I
shimmed
had.
out.
So it can stay back there out of the way.
Hold on.
And that's the stack. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to
You
clip.
know what, let's get it to the last one. This Big Mike. Big Mike drilled it. Yeah, I got rid of all of that. You want an E-clip or C-clip, whatever it's called. Is this one? Yeah, let's see. I can come backwards. Yeah, here we go. All getting all nice and lubed up. So I spaced it out different.
Old oil.
Trying to get in here and get lubed.
And then
Yeah, here we go.
So we have enough room for it's okay. And then we'll put this one there.
And there was no
And I
caps.
think we'll be able to get
So all of the dirt was going, and it wore the bushings and it wore the shaft.
I'm going to have to look it up. I don't know if that's going to happen.
There goes the clip. Nice and tight. Yep, it's in there.
That's it.
And there's like no
Now-
play. The play is in the steering arm.
Oh,
It's not
wow.
in the wheel anymore.
There's a lot less movement, fellas. Look. I'm trying to hold the
It was bad.
axle up. It's not really. That's in the Heim joint, in the steering.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
That's
something
not
going
us.
on in your
So
steering,
that's
Mike.
really
I'll
nice.
I'll tell you about it. That's for another day.
It's better than the
There's
other
some
ones.
issues.
There's no movement.
We
and
can't
front
fix
to back,
everything.
There's no movement.
Not
with
right
that
away.
on. Let's put a little
He
bit
needs
of grease
his
in
he
here.
needs it back
Cups.
so he can cut his
Get the cup
lawn.
on.
So I don't get to do everything I want. Let me see if I have a different shot from yesterday. I'm pressing the bushing in, and I think is it this one? Is it that one? This one. Let's see. Let me see which one I want to show Mike.
All right, so I measured everything up. So basically, it's an inch and a half. So we need 3/4 and 3/4. That's roughly 3/4. That's more than 3/4. And the old one was even bigger.
Yeah, it was cut the wrong
So
way.
when he said he cut it, but he cut the wrong side.
So it's falling out.
So
A lot of these
machines,
machine- Mike says- oh, I'll get to that in a minute.
Inch,
I'll get to that in a minute.
detail tape.
So I cut them up. Oh, this is just another view. I need a little
That's
bit,
just another
little
angle.
more
So that's
space.
1/4 of an inch. That's all I really need there.
and then I press them in. I don't know if I showed that part. I know I showed another part. Oh, that's Christie's mower. Isn't this thing nice? Look, Chrissy or Christy. That's what I finished for her. Nice, 22-inch. Isn't that, excuse me, I'm throwing up in my mouth a little bit. Sorry. Isn't that nice? Look at that thing. Look at it. It cleans up like the day I gave it to her. Yeah, they sell quick, these. And those aren't even the really, really nice ones. I think this was the belt. Yeah, see?
Yeah, now we can
Whoops.
get a better look at the damage. So I got, oh jeez. So I got a good used belt here. I actually have a few of them. So we're pretty much good to.
Yeah, that's that. Hold on, let me come back. Yeah, that thing came out so nice. See, these have them too. So I grabbed the wheels off of the Deutz Alice.
Basically the same thing.
Yep.
This one doesn't look bad.
I grabbed some parts from it. I'm going to part
that's
it.
for this, believe it or not. And we've got bushings in here
Same
to work
crap.
with. Shot tire. This will pull some of this off at some point. We got this thing here, some kind of spacer. I don't think there's anything else there, so we'll grab that. But that's a nice steel spacer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I collect shit like this.
And,
It's just, I love
how pretty the
bushings.
motor
And,
is.
I'm a nut.
Yeah,
I got to
looks good.
start that thing up one more
And
time.
then back here, I pulled the clip off, like the E-clip. But this is like bashed. There's no washer. There's
Yeah.
nothing to hold on the cap. It looks pretty bashed. Rim's a little bit beater. Pulled off the cap and the washer and the clip.
And that tire comes
from
off.
here.
That rim
Which
comes
we'll
off.
browse through in a minute. Same thing on that side. And then here we got this, whatever this is, washer or something.
Oh, look at this.
And you got a gigantic lock washer
Yeah.
that's friendly.
As a
And then you got
spacer.
this.
Another
So,
lock
you
washer.
find- there's another lock
As a
washer. So you
spacer.
find-
People do
as a
crazy
bushing. So you
things.
find all manner of horror.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring some of this in.
All right, hold on. So I grabbed some stuff from that. Where was the one? I showed one. I thought I showed one where I showed the depth. Is this it?
All right, Mike's tire. These are the new bushings. I'm thinking, so it does square. And I'm supposed to be an E-clip.
I
Hold
thought
the
I
cap
had
on.
one. I'm almost positive I have it somewhere, but I don't know what I did with it. I don't know. I don't know what I do with things sometimes. I could have sworn there was a shot that I took. And I cleaned up the other side too and made that proper. And I put a yeah, he drilled that.
Clean that all the crap out of this groove.
So I put
That's
it back
about as
to
good as it's gonna
correct.
get. I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel it right through the glove. Yeah, it's worn here, worn there. It's bulbous.
Because no
here.
cap.
It is what it is, fellas. All right, let me clean
And there's no
out
caps
the-
on the back, so I can't get the rims off on the back. It's not going to happen. They're locked on. They need to be pulled. Hold on, let's check some of this.
All right, let's fire it up. See what it does.
Fire it up! trying to figure out how to use it. Like how does this work, Mike? Does it have reverse? Where's reverse on this damn thing?
My blade comes on, everything starts. I got to throw the lever back there to put it, allow the transmission to run. Give it another shot. Jump.
There it goes. It's cutting good. Yeah, she's running real sweet. I'm coming back. Let me see. I want to find one of these shots. I like it when I do the low shot. Look good out here on that one. Let's see. Is that a low shot? There is. Yeah. Oh, I got in here, Mike, here.
All right, I was able to get in as good as I could.
As good as I
could. To as many different lengths as possible. And because we cleaned it out pretty good, it's not too bad. I got some more white grease, lithium, chain wax. Now this is loose. I don't know why.
So is the other one, Mike, on the other
Now
side.
the gas tank is back.
I don't know what's
That
going
needs
on
to be
there.
Shimmed up. Something's not right. We could try tightening that bolt, but I don't think that's going to do it. But I'm going to put a wrench on it. This is loose too, or damn. A lot of this I was able to get in and get some lubrication. Obviously, the best way to do it is to take the deck down, but that's not our job. It's cleaner.
It's
so
not
we're
my
able to
job.
get to some of it. And there's the rot, a little bit of rot there. So we got more here. Any area that I could get to, up in here, there.
I'll tell you in a minute, Mike.
I also looped up this brake, the poles on the brake over there.
Yeah, the
So
poles.
we got that. That was pretty jammed up. I don't think the brakes work, but we got most of it, fellas. Again, it's not really my thing, but
Yeah, not for this run, but I got it working good. Oh. Yeah, here we go. I like these shots. Right. Here it goes. Slow that down a little bit. Let me see if I have another one. I got one here. I've showed stuff like this before, but yeah, I kind of like that angle. It's better if you can get it even closer. All right, I'm coming back. Because Mike has questions. Hold on. And maybe I have answers. Let's see what Mike is saying. As for Big Mike. Let's see. Those bushings are a joke. I drilled it. He said, shit, I bought 2 of those with set screws. 2 of what? What'd you buy with set screws? What's that? It always cuts nice. So those arms that are loose are part of your steering. And they go to that rack thing, that gear that does this, and they come out and they go over to the tires, right? Over to the linkages up front. And I think I have one more thing I can show ye, which I just took a shot of. Didn't I? There's another, didn't he have another? Oh, yeah. Let me show you this. I know, I got a bit of an echo. Stand by. I'll get rid of that in a minute. I just want to go back to here. And let me show you this.
You might be seeing what I'm seeing. Outside we'll get a better look.
See it?
This one's pretty straight, and that one is all kicked out. But to fix that, we'll have to take that apart down there. We could do that later. Let's get this thing out and test it.
So on the other side of that rod, Mike, is what's connected to the steering thing, that linkage there, and that's what's moving around. There's one on each side. This one I'm just going to adjust. No, the echo is horrible. Hold on, let me come back and get rid of the echo too. Yeah, I don't know if I like this kind of a setup, but I added another input. And sometimes you do something technically because it's correct, but it makes more work. And I don't have a producer, so the steel bushing spacers. Oh yeah, those are nice too. Yeah, you can get the ones with the set screws and just take the set screws out if you don't want to use the set screw. Absolutely, any bushing, but preferably, like I would like to make those bushings and everything out of like a nice oil light bronze setup and spin them up, and I can adjust them. There was one shot which I can't show you, but when you put the longer bushing in without that stupid plastic grease nipple, the other bushing, when you put it into the rim, there's only about a quarter of an inch left for you to put the other bushing with that stupid nipple in. And a quarter of an inch of purchase being pressed into the rim, that's not enough. That's not enough. That's why it fell out. So I cut them, I measured everything, and I cut them so that each bushing penetrates the same amount into the rim. So they're getting the same amount of purchase and press into the rim, so they'll stay there. And then I had to come up with spacers, right, to get the wheel away from the steering arm and knuckle so that it wouldn't rub or hit, and that it would wind up very close to that ring, that cut in the shaft where you have to put a clip. But also you need to get the washer that holds not only that whole assembly on, but it also holds the plastic silicone rubber cap in place. And you get everything greased up and you cap it. This had no caps. The rears don't have caps either. I looked to see if I could get a rear tire and rim off. I can't. It's rusted on. It will need to be pulled off. And you're going to need to do that soon anyway, because one of your valves is all verklempt and sick and cockeyed. You can't barely get any air in it or check it. And it's being rubbed and scraped and cut into by the rim itself because it's cockeyed. And that's going to leak. I think it already is leaking because I had to add air to it. And the other tire was over full. So I got all that squared away. It probably never had caps because people take them off. And so there was no point in me putting caps in the back because I don't know if I have all the correct washers. I have the caps, but I have more of this stuff. I don't know where it is. That's why I've been trying to clean up and organize. So that's another mission on my plate because I'm going to start parting out some of these tractors and I want to find all my stuff. But I didn't bother putting any caps on because those rims are stuck on there. So when it's time to deal with that, I'll deal with it, get the rims off. I'm going to make a puller for these things. I really don't want to cook the rim. I hate doing that. You do what you have to do, but I want to make a puller because sometimes you need a puller and you got to cook the rim. And I'll deal with all of that, fix the tire valve and whatever else, and we'll get caps, grease it all up, put those C's on, put it all back, get the caps on. But that's for another day. And there's something else I want to go over too, is that your assembly for your front plow is not mounted properly. And when I went to jack it up, it all bent and went this way. There's only like one bolt in the front. You should have a triangulation, so all the bolts that hold that on are in a single plane. There is another bolt down below, but everything got bent and covered over in order to install it. And that gray bar that goes around the front just does this now. And those bolts are all loosening up because it's not installed. So you have all of your main bolts are on a single plane. There should be a triangulation. There is a bolt available, but it's covered over because everything is not installed properly. And there should be one down here so it resists the forces. Having all the bolts in the same plane is now creating this and stressing your frame and making a mess and stuff's ripping apart. So that's another issue. If you want to fix that, I know exactly what to do. It's not hard. But that's, again, yet another, if you want to do that, yet another time. Eventually, one day you'll drop the plow and you'll drop the plow. It'll, you'll be done. That'll be the end of it. He goes, I just get things to work. Yeah, well, sometimes that helps. Yeah. Sometimes you get something to work and you go and you test it. I do that. And then I come back and I go over it and make it right so that it won't fall apart on me. That takes time, but everything got bent in order to force fit. So I would just take it apart, straighten it all up, drill a couple extra holes. I can show you what I'll do to it, but that's for another time. I want to straighten out that wheel, and I lubed everything up, and I got to put the, all your fairings on and everything, and then you can have it back. But tomorrow I'm going to finish cutting the lawn with the push, and I want to weed whack a little bit, and then I promised the ladies that I would mow down the garden and rototill it and prep it, because we've got pallets of little planties growing that need to be planted. And it's Memorial Day weekend. I mean, usually we have it in before, but it's Memorial Day weekend, so I'm doing it this weekend. I'm going to make sure I get it done. And I want to leave myself some energy and some time to rest. I'm getting tired. I've been just at it. And contractor Mike, I don't know, all that time trying to get that stupid time waster to work. And yet again, they have it for a couple of days, and now he says it's puking oil or it's leaking oil. I'm like, oh my God. I can't keep his machines running. They break them so fast. So I'm like, Mike, I'm trying to take care of him in between everything else and everyone else. But he just breaks everything like right away. I don't get it. Let me see what you guys do. Let me catch up. Let's do the split screen. Okay. No, the echo is not cool. It's not a nice echo. It's not like one of those slapback echoes. It's like hanging out in the boys' bathroom at school echo. Because that sounded kind of cool. Wait, hold on. Wait. Let me catch up. Josie retracted the message. What did you say? Oh. Doesn't give any bit Boris's. I just tell him, okay, I remember that one. I'm getting for Robert Josie smile. I love your long format vids myself, even the ones for novice. Thanks, bud. Yeah, and by the way, long form today is like 15 minutes. Like if you're lucky, right? A half hour is tough. It's for me, it's hard to keep a half hour format. It's just really hard because I want to do more and more, but you can't. But that's like really long, a half hour. So the fellas that I watch that do an hour-long hangout vids, I was trying to watch one a couple of weeks ago. I was watching a Camarada video, and that was like 2 hours. I'm like, oh my God, this is like a 3-day event for me. Hold on. Let me catch up here. I want to make sure I'm on ATEM cameras. And I want to minimize this so I can have that open. Yeah. All right, let me get my shit together. Bravo goes, my favorite response to trolling is in my best Southern accent. I can't say those words. Go F yourself. Bless your heart. Yeah, I can't do it in Southern accent like that. Not right now. I'd have to get into the right clothing, and, That's a good one, though. Yeah, and they probably just get madder, Robert goes, cool bean spread, Josie lights. I need a shop. Yes. Yeah, you have to have a shop. It doesn't have to be big either. Just a small. I started with a little shed and a crawl space basement. And then I set up, like I have now, I set up like a little patio with patio block and stuff. And I made a nice workbench. And then I made a nice big container, wooden container with a nice roof on top. I put another vise on that. I let it nice and flat, and then I had a nice, somewhat watertight, tight cabinet. I had an air compressor and a welder, and I would slide tools in there just in case. And then I had outside totes and for the emergency. And then my little shed was enough for me to stand in. I had a toolbox of one roll away, and I could fit a motor on an engine stand. I did that for years. Juan goes, hit the like button, folks. Thanks, Juan. Brett goes, now me, I don't do how-to vids. I leave that to you guys. Yeah, right. How-tos. They're fun. It's their own thing, I just saw something. Hold on. Something came up. Let's see. Okay, watch live now. Bleach Multiverse Garage. Bleach PC Multiverse Garage is live. Big Mike, he goes, right is not in my vocabulary, right? Let's see, I just saw another one. And Cold War Motors post. Hi, guys. Today's video will be late due to a technical malfunction with my internet. Sorry. Yeah, I hear you, bro. Speaking of Cold War. Let's see. Brett goes, I don't do how-to videos. Brett goes, that's my first move when I join an Arch chat. Hit the like and then say dilly dilly. Nice. Dilly dilly. One goes, hey, take the motor on that video. Yeah. I was just, E-clips are great. Yeah, E-clips, C-clips, E-clips, whatever the hell. That's an E-clip. That's what you need on there. That's what should be on there. It holds everything nice and tight. And then the spacers and the washers, they were used. So what I did was I cleaned them up. By the way, Mike, thanks again for that little, nice little belt and disc sander, because I was using it again. I cleaned up my washers and spacers, and I made sure they were polished nice and there's no rust and no burrs. Because remember, everything, especially plastic bushings, everything is moving there and rubbing on one another. So you want as low friction as you can. You can actually get those nice not roller bearings, the needle bearing plates, the flat plates, and stick them in there too. That would be something if I made a nice bushing setup, I would probably use something like that. But, to fit that all together, I need to have something that's press fit in a couple of thousandths of an inch. I need to be able to turn it in and make it nice and cut it to length. Someday. Brett goes, Robert, do you have a vid on your Hyperlight? Yeah, he put something out on that. Robert goes, both of my mowers are equipped with ball bearings on the front rims. Yeah, it's nice. It's like a needle bearing. It should be like a flat bearing. Josie, learning with Juan, just back from your channel video, wire wrapping a stone, adding a like and a sub. He goes, yes, I do have a video on it. Milhouse goes, thanks for your subbing my YouTube channel. Brett, Robert, I thought you were already done, but it must not have. Anyway, gained another sub. Bud says, nice work on that, Axel. Thanks, Bud. Yeah, I made that all nice and clean and everything. It's all nice and tight now. It shouldn't fall off. It's not what I would really like, but a lot of them, I just kind of laugh at that because this has got one of those heavy beam axles, the cast axle, or beam is really what it is. And then they put plastic bushings in the wheels. I don't get it. It's like sometimes they really think they just do stuff for gimmicks. It's just a gimmick. Let's see. What Big Mike say? He goes, I don't care. He goes, no, he doesn't care. Well, you only care when the wheel falls off and you dig into your beautiful lawn and now you're stuck. And it's about to rain and you just wanted to finish up so you can go to work or chill out. Listen to that deck hum. Juan goes, Malhouse is legit, guys. Thanks, Juan. Josie, learning with Juan, you're welcome. Hey, your channel to do as you please. Yup, stop over when you get a chance and let me know. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to help. Brett says that echo sounded kind of cool. Learning with Joe. Thanks, Joe. Arch, I have to jump off for a while. See you later, Joe. Thanks for stopping.
Bravo goes, use active encoding for Dolby Atmos sound, Arch. That makes my sound system here sing. I don't have that on here. I think it's actually, by the way, I think in the editor, it's part of when you buy the package, that stuff gets unlocked. That's still on my wish list that I want to try to buy the software. You know? BG says, sounds like you need a hug, Arch. I do. Not Mike's fault the Time Master isn't made for contractor duty. I know. The Turf Master is. Same as the Exmark Commercial 30. I know. We're going to try and fix that. I know. I'm just too overloaded. He keeps breaking stuff too fast. I'm going to see what I can do with the Cub Cadet. That's also not rated for his level of usage. It's not. I got to try to fix it. I said, order the cable. I said, didn't you remember I told you to order it? No, now I do. Oh, yeah. And I think he smokes too much pot. No offense, fellas, but look, I used to do that a lot and drink and everything. I'm like, when you get older, it actually does cause brain damage. I've seen the studies and the reports on it. It messes you up. I think it just makes you forget shit. But it doesn't make you forget the stuff that, like, there's some things. He goes, wait, what do you say? Wait, he goes, you know I don't care. He goes, oh, you saw what happened. Yeah, I saw what happened, Mike. I saw that episode when the wheel came off when you were trying to cut the lawn and just before it rained and your wife is yelling and the kids are, the 11 children are coming over for dinner and they just want everything cleaned up nice and now you've let them down, you know. But yeah, I think that a lot of that stuff, if you drink too much or whatever, maybe you forget some of the stuff you don't want to remember, but I think you also forget the stuff that you want to remember. I think that's the problem with it. It's because you just get zoned out, you know. You see, we should play some Armor again sometime just to relax. I know, right? Armor. I made a server. I remade the one server that I had. The Arma 2 Daisy Epoch. It's on this machine, which I bought back from Visceral. It's on there. Then I had all those problems with the internet, and then I got really busy, and I'm like, not now. I got too much stuff to do. I just have too much. I'm so far behind everything. But it is fun to, occasionally play a game and chill out and relax. Bleach is live, Robin says. Yeah, he's live. Doesn't matter how big a shop you start out with. You always end up with a small standing space with one small engine area. Yeah, you do need a lot of room. But then the problem is you have all this room. You have to take care of it. You have to clean it. You have to organize it. You have to pay for it. There'll be taxes on it. And then if you want to heat it or AC it, you're going to have a big room to do that, right? You have to maintain it when it needs a roof. You know, like my shop is just about the right size. I actually started cleaning up in the garage, and I'm getting ready to make more of a fabrication style room because I don't really want to do all of the welding in here and the grinding and all that because I got some sensitive equipment and I like to hang out in here. I want more of this to be like the assembly diagnostic studio, but I want the other room. And there's some areas where I can't put the camera. I just can't fit the stands and everything. So I'm like, well, why don't we set up out there? That way, concrete floor, I'll keep it a little bit cleaner. There won't be electronics out there. I can weld, I can grind. I've got this big steel frame. I want to take that gigantic vise off of that table because it's too high and it's kind of in the way. I want to mount it to a steel frame. I'm going to take the other vise, which everything else is in its way, move it over. Then I've got this nice wood vise here, which is in my way, and I can't really... So, like, let's move some stuff over into the other room. I can bang steel, bend it, grind it, weld it. If I want to sharpen a lawnmower blade, because as much as I like to do a lot of that outside, if it's raining and cold or horrible, which lately has been like every day, you can't do that kind of stuff. So... slowly, I'm getting there. And again, thanks, Mike, for that nice blue belt and disc sander, because I know I said that already, but I'm saying it again. I really needed one. And he brought it over. I think a nut fell out, and it's making a strange noise, but I'll get in there, and I'll take a peek at it. But I've been using it. So I kind of have a spot for it. Robert goes, yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, Brett says, my shop isn't huge, but it serves its purpose. Yep. And Mel says, Big Mike, please give Archie a great big break. What's that? What kind of break? Don't break anything. Brett says, Arch, if you like, you can show my shop again for a discussion for the newcomers. No, I'm good. If I don't feel like going around finding it and everything. What time is it? Yeah, we're at an hour and 22 minutes. I'm almost done. Let's see what Mike said. I just wanted to hang out because I want to chill. Yeah, he goes, no problem. I'm glad you have it. Yeah, that was nice. That was just like a score. I got to get belts. So I got to take that belt off and see what size it is. I put a disc on it. Kind of wiped it down, checked it over. And that table that I made is a steel table that I made that you crank it, it goes up or down. And I put a wood top as well on it. It's just too big, and I don't want the wood top. So I'm going to take that top off. It'll make it smaller. I'm going to mount the big vise somewhere on it. And that way, if I want to work on one of the tools or the grinders or weld something or work on the vise, if it's too low or too high, I can adjust everything up or down to the height I want and do what I want to do. And then I've got an electric lift that I never put together. Like I never modified it. It's an electric lift that I think is a veterinarian's exam table, but it's missing the nice stainless steel top. But everything else is there. The motor, the scissors. It's very heavy. Very heavy. It's off in the corner, so I want to get that going. I want to get that big steel frame. I'm going to mount probably another vise or something to that. One of them is going to get one or two of those Harbor Freight welding table kits, with the holes in it and everything. And those little like chucks and stuff that you drop in the holes and clamps. So I'm going to pick up that in the future, and it's going to go somewhere. I'm not sure if it's going to go on the lift table or on the steel table or maybe both, or I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But these little fabrication things I'm going to show, and I think it'll be good because you can bang, bend. I also have a little bead roller downstairs. I had to use the press the other day on Mike's thing to press the bushing in the first couple of times. So I took that press out. I cleaned up a little bit again, a little bit more in there. And so I just kind of want to have like a tool center for that kind of stuff. And the table saws on wheels, the chop box is easy to move around. So if I want to, I also have the router table out there. So whether I want to do wood or steel, I can just kind of move stuff around, set it up, and do what I need to do in that room. Unless, of course, I have no choice and I have to do it in here. But if I have a choice, I'll do it out there. And it still gives me room and stuff to do other things in here, Plus, if I have something on the table like a big tractor, I have room out there because I've been having to do some of these smaller jobs out in the garage because Mike's tractor has been on my table. And once something like that's on the table, I'm not taking it off. It's too hard, especially if it doesn't run or if it's taken apart. So just maximizing the space. I don't want it just for storage. And if I need to and stuff's on wheels or I can move it, I can kind of push stuff when I'm not using it, kind of out of the way. If I have to store a few machines in there, that's fine. Let's see. It gets break goes, I cut grass tonight. This week was Honda week. I alternate between the Honda and the Time Master. Yeah, I used the Honda today. Last week, I think I used that nice Craftsman, that green Craftsman with the Takumi motor that I set up on it. Because a break from working on the time waster. No, I'm going to be back on it, and I've got another one I got to fix for him. And I have that little Briggs motor I got to do. So as soon as Mike is out of here, I'm going to try to fix the cable on the Cub Cadet. Give him back the Cub Cadet. I told him for now, just keep checking your oil. I also told him to take the cover off the Time Master, the plastic cover, clean out in there, even though I had it clean. And you could have run over a fishing line or something. I don't know. Maybe something got up into the lower seal, the crank seal, worked its way up in there. Those seals don't usually wear out unless something gets in there. Because his guys, I could just see one of his guys driving right over a big spool of, I don't know, weed whacker line, or, we are down by the water. I have definitely had machines come in here with fishing line all wrapped up in them. And that can get in the seal. It can damage it. Sometimes when you get it out, it'll seal back up. The only other thing that would make a seal die other than debris is the crank is wobbling. So I don't know how that could be. I don't know. The stuff that I see, it's like, how did that happen? How did you do that? Would you throw this thing off a building? Yeah, they actually do. They toss them around. They put these things in the back of SUVs, and he'll try to pick it up himself. And I see he's banging it into there, or he puts it on the trailer, and he bungees these heavy machines down. And I said, Mike, don't you understand anything about inertia, mass, and physics? Like, that bungee is springy. You need straps. Well, he's in a rush. He's probably stoned. And I'm like, bro, these heavy, even if you're doing 15, 20 miles an hour, if you have to turn or hit the brake or accelerate, things in motion tend to stay in motion with all of that weight and mass, and they go slamming. I see damage on all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Tie this shit down. Not with bungees. That's for your garbage pails. Bungees are for your garbage pails. Not for your big, heavy machines. With that, I'm going to get out of here. I want to say thanks to everybody. It's an hour and a half. And I didn't get to cover everything tonight, but it's like an hour 28. Well, next time I want to talk a little about like spark plugs and stuff. Because Clouds had mentioned, and just for brief, this is like 2 weeks ago in Ken's, Clouds had mentioned why the nicer plugs, and because some of the fellas are talking about some of these nice plugs, with all the fancy metals on the end and everything. And why the E-series plugs don't last. They work fine. There's nothing wrong with them. It's like Klaus said. These engines have little cheesy, crappy coils on them. There's no multi-spark discharge. There's nothing like that. A Craftsman plug, a Champion plug, or maybe even one of these HIPAA plugs, which they seem to be working fine, is more than good enough. And we'll talk a little bit more about it next week. But for years, I built very high-end motors, and we tested a lot of plugs. And honestly, the best plugs are probably Autolite or AC. Stock AC, some of the high-end AC plugs are really nice. Some of the standard Autolite plugs are very durable. We never considered a Champion plug to be anything worth more than something to run your engine in after you goobed it all up with molybdenum disulfide and all this other garbage, because they're not very good. But in a small engine, they're probably your best bet. But we can talk about that, what causes some of the wear and the carbonization and the issues. And could it be coming from the spark plug? Could it be a Champion plug that maybe has been sitting in the engine a little too long? And just because it fires doesn't mean it fires well. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping in. And big shout out to everybody that's helped out this channel. 2 million views. I can't believe it. It's crazy. I'll see you guys later.